into the cloud server. We are, Barb, we're rocking and rolling. All right, everyone. Good morning. Welcome back. It's Trevor Shruka here from Smashing Pixels and the Level Up Academy. The last few weeks, we've been talking to a lot of business coaches and a lot of marketing guys to show you the way on some tips and tricks on how you can level up your business and take it to the next level. Now that we've talked with a lot of business coaches, now that we've talked with a lot of marketing gurus and people that can assist us that way, I thought, why don't we bring in some personal coaching and start thinking about the mindset of where we all are with this journey that we're still in, and we may be in, who knows? They're saying, I think school's been extended now till May 8th until they're going to push it back again. So we're in this thing for the next little while. So while we're here, let's help each other out and let's help get to that next level. Today, joining me is a friend from across the ocean in Belgium, Barbara Vercruysse. Barbara is a life coach, a business coach, a mentor, a writer, a mom, a wife. BMW is one of her clients, so she knows what she's talking about, and she's a survivor. Let me introduce her, and I'll let her kind of tell her story, and then we'll get into it. Barbara, welcome to the show, and how about you introduce yourself to everyone listening?
Okay, first of all, thank you for the invitation, Trevor. It's a joy and a pleasure to be here. Well, you said most of it. I'm a mentor, a personal growth coach. Most of my clients, my biggest client is BMW, where I do a business coaching and also quality management, but I do guide a number of people personally as a personal growth coach. Most of my clients are entrepreneurs and corporate leaders who need some support to break through some, well, you could say mental blocks, because most of the time, if some results stay out in our life, it's 99%, it's a mental block somewhere, something that we do not see, something that we are still ignorant about. And it's always easier to have someone by your side who can give you a new perspective on things and who has you could say, an experience of working with many people who went through the same. And most of all, I went myself through quite some challenges and have learned many, many lessons about myself and about how to handle, you could say, setbacks in life, how to handle things that don't go the way you expected, the way you wanted, or the way you thought it would be, because it's never as we think it is.
Yeah, and you know what? If we continue kind of on where you're going, having an upset in life and having a change, which is what everyone is going through right now, whether you have been forced to go home, whether you're at home because your kids no longer have school and you're home, or whether your business has pivoted and you're having to learn something new just to survive. Those are major changes that we're going through. Barbara, can I call you Barb or is it Barbara?
You can choose.
Okay.
I don't care. I don't care.
So Barbara, I would say Barb as a short form from, and as we get, I don't know if I mentioned this, but yes, you are from Belgium, so you're from across the sea. Over here, we would use the shorter form, but you worked for your family business. You were a mom and a wife.
Well, I had, at the age of 28, I started a construction business. And I did that because I grew up in a construction business. My parents ran a construction business, and I decided to start a company on my own. I had been working in, prior to that, in the film industry and advertising industry. But I was not made to be an employee. When you grow up in a business, it's very difficult to have that employee mentality. So at 28, I decided 100 miles from where my parents lived to start a similar construction business at 28. And at 32, I was faced with a major challenge. I was diagnosed with a stage 4 skin cancer. So I was running my business since 4 or 5 years. I was married since 5 years, and our youngest, I had 3 children in 4 years. Our youngest was 8 weeks old at that moment. So I was practically told, that was in 2003, that I had no more than 6 months to live. What you can imagine was quite a shock. Having a young business, having 3 young children, it was like a bomb that was, like thrown in our lives. And I remember very well that the first night in hospital, before I had to have my first surgery, I had several surgeries and a year of chemotherapy. But that first night in hospital, like I was kind of looking at the ceiling, and it was the first time that I was without kids, without husband, without kids in all those years. It was quite, like, it was like it came, like the walls came to me. It was that moment when it sinks in, because before that it was quite surreal. And I felt like tears, like coming out of my eyes and looking at the ceiling. And then I was thinking, okay, I miss my babies. I miss, like 2 toddlers a baby. But then I was like, okay, where they are right now, they are surrounded by love. They were with my parents, my parents-in-law. And I knew, like, they're just too young to realize what's going on. So they are not suffering right now. And I was thinking, okay, what is the best thing I can do right now to help myself? And I know for sure it was not going into like negative thinking and depressed thinking. So very quickly, I made a mind shift. I just said, like, okay, what I can do right now is to keep my spirit high, to keep my thoughts positive. That's the only thing that I have in control right now. My health, all the rest I will surrender to the doctors. I have faith in what the doctors are doing, but me, I am responsible for my thoughts. And from that moment on, like even the first days when my husband came in hospital, he was very overwhelmed. I can understand, because he saw himself ending as a widower with a business that was not his, because he was not in the business, and 3 young children. And I really told everyone who came in the room, I do not want to see tears. I'm not dead yet. No drama thinking, no disaster thinking. And I asked my husband to bring me some books on cancer survivors. And I started reading on people who survived. And I was very dedicated to survive. So that was really something. I don't know if it's the mother instinct, like as a mom, I wanted to see my children grow up. That was something that I really was like committed. And not for 1 second, of course, I went through physical pain, a lot of physical pain. And the months after that, my body was deteriorating, all of that. But my mind stayed very solid. Can I explain why? No, I think we have some kind of survival and just a refusal to think of a worst case. I simply, even when I would die, I would not want my last months to spend them in a negative atmosphere. It's better to just, like enjoy every moment you still have, and to be a joyful presence, because you're still alive.
Well, and taking that, and why I really wanted to talk to you today about this is you were kind of getting towards that. It's that fight or flight mentality. You chose to fight. You said, I'm going to fight. I've got this thing.
Yes.
Right now, though not cancer, and not to compare the two together, but right now the world is in a fight or flight mentality, whether you're in Belgium, whether you're
Mm-hmm.
in,
Absolutely.
North America. We're all kind of going
Mm-hmm.
through the same thing together. I was
Mm-hmm.
literally just on the phone with a young lady who had called in, and we were chatting because she said, "Listen, I've been challenging myself. I want to pivot. What are your thoughts? Do you think it's a good idea?" And it's like, yeah, I said, first of all, I think we're going through the stages of grief.
Mm-hmm.
Shock was the first one,
Yes.
anger, sadness. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and now we're getting to the point of, okay, what do I do? Like, I've got to pick myself up out of this,
Yes.
keep
Mm-hmm.
moving
Mm-hmm.
forward. What,
Yes.
relating your experience, how do you think people are handling this? I mean, I'm seeing a lot of I've seen a lot of flight, but I'm starting to
Mm-hmm.
see the fight. Like I said, I'm starting to see that fight part in those stages of grief starting to show up in people, and people saying, nope, we're not going to let this thing get us down. Yes, there's some bad things that are happening,
Mm-hmm.
but how through your
I
eye,
see,
what do you,
yes, what I see and what has warmed my heart really is a sense of we're all in this together, a, a sense of togetherness. That's how I feel it. Um, Me, myself, I rarely watch the news, rarely. Just
well,
two
that's great.
minutes.
That's sage words, because I think we get too locked in on
Yes.
watching
Oh,
CNN,
yes.
too locked in on
Oh, yes.
watching
Oh, yes. You can better start reading some other, we become what we surround ourselves with. So if we fill our mind the entire night with negativity, you need a lot of energy to get out of that negativity. So I just watched the numbers very shortly, a minute or two. I watched the numbers, and then I'm like, okay, like we're safe at home. And whenever I feel like fear or doubt coming up, because April, my revenue will have gone down 60%. That's how it is. BMW is closed. So what do I do about it? I have been creating, like my inspiration came up. Have been creating new products. Have been continuing to write my book, and I think it's always our adaptability. And maybe I can share the story of the ending of my construction business, because that was, like a second huge challenge. In 2016, I had been thinking for a while already about changing businesses, but I still wanted to end my construction businesses in a decent way. I wanted to end in 2018, but in 2016, my HR company made a huge mistake. I was betrayed by some employees, and I had to close and ended up with a 200,000 euros of debt. I was 46 years old, and I had been running for 18 years a quite successful business. So I had my, like my ceiling moment again, laying in bed. We just had a phone call from the bank that they might want to sell our house, which was really, really hard. Watching the ceiling again and thinking, oh my God, I was talking to God like, are you serious? I survived the stage 4 cancer to end up here. And then I got like a deep realization, like, what is the worst thing that can happen right now? That's the 5 of us becoming homeless. And I was thinking, wow, whether I am homeless or not, I'm still a good person and I still have value. And that feeling, I grasped that feeling of value. And the next days, I started looking, like for kind of work or job. And I was lucky within the first week to have an offer from BMW, which was the first work was, you could say, below my capacities, but I say yes. I said yes, yes, yes. So what I want really to come to is there are times in our lives where we just have to adapt. We have to become humble, like head down and work, work, work. That's what I have been doing. I had to, at 46 years old, reinvent myself. Totally reinvent myself. So now I'm running a successful coaching business. My revenues, like 2 years in a row, has grown with 50%. I'm extremely happy where I am now. Like I climbed out of that could say, deep valley. And it has given me a sense of power. I'm like, whatever you throw at my face, like I can get out of it. So right now, having a 60% fall down of revenue in April, I can handle that. I have been through worse. And it's always our adaptability. I think Darwin said that, like the strongest people are the ones who are the survivors. How did he say that? The fittest are the ones who, like something like that. But it's always about
survival of the fittest.
Yes, survival of the fittest. So the people who know to new conditions, who know to adapt fast and more easy, in the easiest way are the ones who, well, you could say, especially in business, who are the most successful. It's just like, if we have that fixed mindset, like, I want my business like that, it has to be that kind of business, that kind of revenue, and you don't have that adaptability, then you're lost, I think, in these times.
Well, and I think that you bring up a great point. I mean, we would call it like pivoting in
yes,
adaptability,
absolutely.
pivoting. And I find that there's a lot of people who have the mentality of, we always do what we've always done because it always worked. And like you said, they're having that ceiling moment, which I love that terminology. And you know how we tend to possess things and we don't want to get rid of them because they're ours. I think that people in business are thinking that how they've always done it, like that was their baby, and to be able to sit there and go,
absolutely,
like you said, that checklist. Listen, I'm not going to lose my house. We're not going to be homeless. People still like me. I can keep moving forward. It is wonderful, wonderful words. But what do you say to your clients that they just keep holding on to that stuff and they can't give it away because they're so scared of what's on that other side?
I get what you say. I'm trying in a gentle way to give them some perspective, to help them see, like to open, you could say, like to open their mind, like to hold the kind of a mirror and say, like, that's possible too, that's possible too. Just planting seeds in their mind, like that they, because someone who is very closed and very, like rigid, some people need shock. And I think these times are kind of shock for many of us, makes us things. And I think, my mantra has been since the beginning, something good is going to come out of this. Something good is going to come out of this. And I think, like, globally for the planet, I'm sure it is. More and more people think about working from home where they didn't before. Like the planet can breathe, like, again. So if we focus on that, it will never be the same again. We know that. The world will never be the same again. And we better adapt. We better live with that reality. And the quicker you realize that, the better for you and your business.
Yeah, I think that because this is really the first time in living history, because we already went through World War I, World War II, a memory to only a few people, because most people were not around for that. We've really been comfortable for the last 70 years. Yes, we've had some more, and yes, some bad things have happened, but other than that, nothing to that worldwide level. And
I was talking with a good friend of mine who is like a international manager for a very big carpet company in Belgium here, and he works a lot with Russia. And he says, like, it's so, he compared how Russians deal with this and how in Europe and in, you could say, States and Canada. And he said, like, here in the West, we're just some kind of spoiled children. That for the first time, and we have so few resilience.
Yep.
Russians are like, okay, we will survive this, even if we have to move out, change jobs, that's okay. the world keeps turning, and we tend to like over dramatize, like, oh my God, I cannot not go to the beach today. Oh my God, like that are really first world problems. And sometimes we forget that not going, like not going to the beach, or not having maybe a vacation in a foreign country, those are not real problems, as long as you're healthy, first of all.
Well, I mean, I laugh because here's how low the common denominator was around here. We were having war over toilet paper,
Yeah,
and
I
toilet
know.
paper
In
shortage.
every country, in
And
every
it's like,
country it was.
what are you doing?
I
Like, you
did.
were fighting, and you know what it was, and I truly believe it was that possessiveness. Like, people have just lost
Yes.
everything. They weren't going to lose the last thing they can potentially hold on to, and that became toilet paper rolls of all things. So
Yeah.
it like you said, the world is changing. Sometimes
Yes.
people are referring to it as the new normal. It's not going back to where it was, but
Mm-hmm.
there was something that I picked up when I was reading one of your pieces, which was live the life you truly want. And I think that
Mm-hmm.
for the busy professionals, and also for the entrepreneurs, um, sometimes you get in that rut of doing all the things that you
Oh
thought you had
yes.
to do,
Oh yes.
and you've been praying for this moment to happen, to say, if I could just have a moment of solace, that I
Absolutely.
could pivot and change. So this is an awakening, a great awakening for people who've been waiting for this.
Absolutely.
How do
I
they
think
go
I
about?
think that if I look back now, and all my biggest challenges, they were each time a blessing in disguise. So if you can look at this right now, like there is a blessing somewhere there. There is a blessing. And you focus on, like you said, you have the time now to do the things that you didn't. Maybe you have a business idea, you have a creative idea, or you can do it now. So use that time. I think that's so important. That's what I've been doing the past weeks, is being, I have a very, like disciplined routine. And even if 8 hours per day, some days freed up from my BMW work, I really had that strict regime of being productive and creative. And of course, now and then I would stop earlier and watch a series a little earlier than otherwise, but still staying very productive and not allow my mind to go and wander in places where we know, like that insecurity, that doubt, that worrying too much about the future. Just being in the now and know what you do now, that's what you have control over. We do not know what tomorrow brings. We do not know. But we can be very present now in what we do, in what we create, in the people we are around with. I have enjoyed, and this might sound very wrong or weird, but I have enjoyed family time so fully. I've savored it. I came to realize how much I missed it in my busy life. And that was for me like a very big awakening, like, wow, being even more grateful to live here. Like two girls who are in college stay home now because college is online. I have my youngest in high school. We're living, the five of us, like a 21-year-old, a 20-year-old, 17, my husband and me, in a beautiful harmony. Of course, there's no, and then there's chaos and there's mess, but the overall sentiment is love and harmony and the connection. And somehow I had lost, you could say, like I wasn't very mindful about that anymore. Like you say, with the eating, like we before we had the interview, like being mindful what you eat, being mindful of what is already present in your life. I think that's what's happening right now can make us very mindful and grateful for what we already have.
And you know what? It's funny because the things that we lost out on are, as you had said a few minutes ago, those first world problems. And what have we been given? We've been given the gift of time, the gift to be
Yes,
around your family, the gift of
absolutely.
togetherness. and all
Yes.
that. And it's taking some time, and I think that people are coming back to realizing that, you know what, this is an amazing thing, and the gift to rewrite, or we would call it a do-over. Like as a kid when you play sports, and if somebody scores on you, you'd be like, do-over, like it's a do-over.
Yes, yes.
That really is what's happening right now. This is a great do-over. If for those who are stuck in a rut and
Yes.
they weren't sure how to get out, this is a do-over. For those who
Mm-hmm.
were stuck doing the same thing over and over again just because they thought they had to, this is a do-over. Um, and you were saying
Absolutely.
about keeping busy. On one side of the thing, yeah, dad was working 60 hours a week, mom was working, 60 hours a week, babysitter
Mm-hmm.
was watching the kids. Now they're all together. So
Yes.
now it's like, what do we do? And I know that you said we've got the mind can go this way. The other side of it is the saying that idle hands are the devil's playground. So you don't want to just slump on the couch for the next
No, no,
2 or 3 months.
no.
Any advice for people who are looking to do something new, that they're too afraid, the couch is becoming a comfortable spot
Yes.
for them, and they kind of need that kick in the backside to say, you know what, you got to get going.
Yeah, it can be a scary place to go out of that comfort. It is a scary place. But it's sometimes like it's with every adventure in life. Like if we go in the paths that everybody has been walking to and like just following, there's nothing fun there. The fun happens always where, like in the dark, in the dark, it's like literally in the paths that nobody, have traveled before. That's where the fun part is. And just giving yourself um, that most of us have built, you could say, like a comfortable prison. And we stay in the couch and we don't even realize it's a prison. We don't, because we made it with cushions, we have our kitchen, and we stay there. I think the most important question you can ask yourself when I'm 80 or 90 years old, when I look back, will I have led the life that I really, truly, truly, truly wanted? Have I lived up to my potential fully? Have I explored every talent that is given to me? Have I tried it out? Even in the beginning, if it's more like a hobby, I don't care. Maybe you want to paint, or you have a passion for pastry. Well, you don't have to cut the cord and start, like you can do things in a harmonious way, still have your business and start something new up and see how it goes. But just asking yourself that question, what is my legacy? What I'm leaving behind here? Did I just live life, the zombie life, like getting up, going to work, in the couch, going to sleep, getting up again? Where is the joy? We were born to experience joy, to unfold. If you look at in nature, every flower, every tree, like we're born to unfold ourselves, to grow and to expand.
I
Get in
think
touch with that part.
I think and I'm going to butcher this, but you can fix it for me. I think the French have a saying called joie de vivre, the joy of
Yeah,
life.
joie de vivre, joie de
Joie de
vivre.
vivre.
Yes, joie de vivre.
The joy of life. And
Yes, joy of life.
I
We
think
were
that,
born to experience joy.
yeah, and I
We
think,
were.
joy is a word that we don't use anymore because I think we've downplayed it and now we just say words like happy, which I
Yeah.
did a whole series on joy. Joy is up here. Joy is that warm
Yes.
feeling that you get.
Yes. Joy. Plus,
Happy
joy
down.
has something creative.
Yes.
And that's something that I want to add. We have been trained and brainwashed to becoming consuming beings. But we were born as creating beings.
Yep.
We are born to create. Whether you like to sing, you like to draw, you like to dance, you like to write, I don't care. You have a business idea, like the creative part. We were born to create. And for some reason, from childhood on, we train our child. We give things, we give stuff, and we make them dependent, like I think 90% of people are dependent, make their happiness dependent on the stuff, which is a very powerless place to be.
Yeah, I think that knowing that we were born to be creators,
Yes.
being created, we were born to be creators. We forget about that. And I think because we're all post-war, there was this
Yes.
mentality of my parents or my if in my case, in your case, our
Yeah.
great grandparents suffered a lot. And then so what our
Mm-hmm.
grandparents did was, hey, we don't want our kids to suffer as much as I did. And what our parents did was, well, we don't want our kids to suffer. Then what we're doing is like,
Uh-huh.
we don't want our kids to suffer. And so we've not been prepared for this. And the creativeness and that spark of life, that joie de vivre,
Yes.
has
Yes.
been kind of forgotten about. And I'm so glad
Forgotten.
that you brought that up, because we're going into that. And I love that you had said the word scary and adventure in almost the same sentence. So these next steps to us, they can be scary if we choose them to be, or it can be a great adventure. I mean,
It's an adventure.
the
Yes.
choice is ours in our mental capacity to decide which,
Oh, yes.
where are we going to do.
And I think when you take the step, when you go out for the adventure, there is no possibility to fail because you did it. The fact that you took the step, there's no reason, even if your idea turns out to not be viable, that's not a failure. At least you tried. You tried the idea, you went for it, and then there is no regret. There's only a failure when you regret. That's a failed life, a life full of regrets.
Yeah, looking back in the mirror, to look back at regret, it's so bad. I say to my
Mhm.
kids all the time that when they're scared of doing something or they think it's going to hurt,
Uh-huh.
I use a phrase that says that the pain is only momentary. It just hurts once, and then once you get off of that, and once you go through it, it doesn't hurt
Mhm.
anymore. And whether that
Mhm.
is, you want to take up boxing, so you're going to get hit, and you're like, I'm too afraid to get hit. It's like, no, it hurts once. Then you realize that,
Mhm.
oh, it's not as bad as I
There's
thought it was.
so many things. Even if we think a simple thing like driving the car,
Oh,
there
yep.
there was a moment where we were terrified of driving the car. We think we would never be able to do that. Now we can almost, our body does it for us, like on an automatic pilot. So whatever is new, it's natural. It's natural to be scared first because it's the unknown. But at a certain point, the more you go in the unknown, the more you get used to the unknown and the surprises, and you look at it. I think people who love to continue to learn, who love the adventure, you just stay younger. Like your heart, you're just like more into life, into living. When you stop doing that, when you stop enjoying the adventure of life, you stop living.
Barbara, I think you just uncorked the fountain of youth there. The fountain of youth is not finding something to absorb; it's enjoying life and having that joy. And,
Yes,
and
yes,
because enjoy comes from the word
yes.
joy. Barbara, it has been such a fantastic chat that I've had with you. I fear that, not fear, but I know that we could go on
Oh,
forever.
yes, we
So
could.
I'm going to be reaching back to you and having a part two to this. But I thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule. I know it's
Thank
12, it's
you.
coming up to 12 o'clock noon here. What time is it where you are right now?
6
Oh, nice.
p.m.
So you're closing it on the end of the day. We're coming up to
Yes,
midday
yes,
here. So
yes.
thank you very much. For those who
Okay,
want
thank
to
you.
start to follow you and find you and dive more into what you're talking about, how can they find you and how can they connect with you?
Most easily is through, I think, LinkedIn. I'm very active on LinkedIn. You can find my name, Barbara Vercruysse, or I can send you the link, Trevor. And my website is startalifeofyourdreams.com. And start the life of your dreams in one word.
Perfect. Well, I will have it down in the description where this will be
Okay.
posted. Have yourselves a great day, everyone. And again, get out there and start that adventure. It's not that scary. get through it. Get out of the prison that we've built for ourselves, as Barbara has get out there, enjoy life, and start your own
Mhm.
new adventure. You won't regret it, and it's not going to be that painful. Thanks again, everyone, and
Okay.
we'll watch you next time. Hey.